Welcome back to the Curious Yapper. I'm Madison, your host and favorite yapper. I'm recapping the last 2 weeks because I didn't record last week. Taking us back to, I think it was May 4th, so May the 4th be with you. I left after work and went to paddle. That was really nice. Felt like I was putting myself first and not just staying at work until everything was done. That's challenging. It's been really challenging and there's lots of stuff to do. So that was great. Got to paddle. Could tell that my legs were a little bit stronger because of all of the stairs that we've been doing, and got to start a new book. Abby Jimenez's The Happy Ever Playlist, something like that. It's the second book of her Friend Zone series, and I want to read her newest book, and people recommended going back and making sure that you've consumed her other books because she references stuff and you can catch it if you've read the others. So that was Monday. Then the next day was Cinco de Mayo. I did not do anything. It was a tough day at work and I just came home and watched reality TV. The next day after that was starting to do last minute preparations because my mom was coming in town, and there's nothing like the deadline being motivating. So that's when I got her bed ready. LOL, the comforter has not been fully back, and yeah, it is what it is. So all of the preparations were last minute. That's where the dopamine hits. Then the next day, Thursday, she was here. I picked her up from the airport and it was just really fun to share with her our new home and all of the nature and the flowers and all the things. So we got her here to the apartment, and then she and I'm gonna sneeze. Got her to the apartment, and then I had all of these plans in my head and we went with the flow. So instead of doing what I had originally planned, we pivoted and I took her to go see a waterfall. So that was really fun, and it was cool because you park away from it in the highway parking lot and then you get closer to it, but we were just in the parking lot and she was so enamored and trying to take pictures already, and I said it's gonna get better, and it was just so fun to see the awe and excitement in her spirit, her eyes, whatever. So that was really fun, and we got to take a picture together by the waterfall, and then we headed to a hatchery down the road, and that was so funny because again got to see all the awe behind her excitement, and she loved the fish. That was just a last minute thought I had to take her to go do that, and then she loved it, and so that was pretty cool. We got to see some tuna that were being raised or bred. Then we saw rainbow trout, and then we saw sturgeon, and also on the way in we got to see a lot of rhododendrons. And the flowers just so gorgeous. Everything's blooming, and just really fun to get to witness her excitement and then also just share my excitement for all of the things that I love about our home. So we did that. Then we headed back, had dinner with Evan. He made dinner and that was really nice. And then it was time to go to bed. The next day I went to work, and then after work, she went with me to my game group, and so she got to meet all those people. It was really nice, and yeah, that was Friday. Then the next day was Saturday, and we took her to the coast, and it was so cool because I don't remember experiencing this before, but it was low tide, and I don't know how long this season lasts, but it was low tide, so she got to see starfish, and we got to see like the mussels that are on and attached to the rocks, and got to see anemones, birds. It was just really cool. So we got to do that, and I was just in my happy place. I could sit on a beach, read a book for hours. And so we got to do all that. On our way back, we stopped at a restaurant, got to eat that, and came back home and watched some TV. And after we had seen on Thursday all of the fish, I said we should keep the theme going, and we watched The Deadliest Catch with all of the crab and the fishermen that go into the Bering Sea off of the coast of Alaska. So that was fun too. Got to do all of that on Saturday. And then I think when we got back to, we started watching some movies, and I was dozing off. I think she stayed awake the whole time, but I was dozing off for sure. And then had dinner again. Then I don't even remember what we did for dinner. Not sure. The next day was Sunday. It was our last day to do all the things. Took her to a farmer's market, and we picked up some sourdough bread, and just again fun to show her all the things. And farmers markets here are just so different than what you experience in Texas. So just fun to show and share. Then we went to a nursery. It was hopping and a bopping for Mother's Day, and she actually purchased us plants. So we got a strawberry plant. We'll see if it goes well. We got strawberry plant, snapdragon flowers, and dahlia flowers, and picked those up. Then took her to our favorite ice cream place and got to see the water, and all she requested was to be able to see the mountain and water when she was here, and we got to do all of that. So it was fun to share and all of that with her as well. Then we got back home and we made delicious grilled cheese with the sourdough bread we got. We chose a jalapeno cheddar sourdough bread, and it was really good. I made us a grilled cheese that had a slice of Colby, a slice of American, and then also some cream cheese. Yum. And I had forgotten that I had picked up sour cream and onion dip and chips, so we got to have that too. So that was yummy and fun. Then the next day was Monday. That was this past week. Whoa. This past week, Monday. Dropped her off at the airport. I worked from home that day, and after work, Evan and I headed to the lake so I could paddle and he could walk. So that was also good. Then Tuesday this week, I went and saw Devil Wears Prada 2 with a friend, and that was fun. The first one is just so iconic that the second one, like, they forced having a sequel. It didn't really fit, but it was still good. Still got to laugh. Not better than the original though. Got to have some popcorn with my friend. The next day was therapy, very necessary. I had shared with her that I was keeping track of my success in the week by saying I only want to cry this many times in the week, and she said, could we not put a value on how many times you cry to equating to success? And I was like, okay. So she said, when you're crying, that's your body's way that's saying that it needs oxytocin to regulate itself. Take the cry, keep going. Let's not track success by that. And I said, okay. So I won't tell you how many times I cried this week because I'm not supposed to measure it by that. And therapy was good. I'm really nervous to not be successful at work, and having to remind myself that we've moved past this before and my worth is not tied up in what I produce at work. But when things are really stressful and things are new, it's hard to remember all of that work and the lessons. So I'm trying. but it's been very challenging. That was Wednesday. She kept asking me, she's like, what are you scared of? How are you going to fail? So what if you fail? What does that mean? What if it goes poorly? What if you don't do the right thing? And so that was interesting. Then Thursday, did some errands after work and got Chick-fil-A. And then I wanted a sweet treat and didn't feel like we had anything in the house. So I ran to Costco and I got myself literally all I was there for. I walked in the exit because that's where the food is. And I walked right up to the kiosk, got my twisted frozen yogurt and also a cookie. Brought it home. And it was nice. So did that. And then Friday, stayed at work longer than I would have liked. Is what it is. Got home, did Taco Bell with Evan, and I think I was in bed by 8 or so. Is what it is. Yesterday, took it really chill. My brain still fights me and tries to say that I have to be productive, and rest is not my biggest forte. So that was hard yesterday. I did some dime dotting, I did some reading, and even though I read some, my brain's like, but you didn't finish the book, so it was a waste. Anywho's, we did Taco Bell again last night. And today, Evan made breakfast. We went to the park, did the stairs, and I did 6 sets in a row without a break. That's my record for in a row. And then I walked a couple laps at the top and then did 1 more set. So 7 total, which is a lot. So I was proud of my body. We got back home and I still had some energy to walk, and Evan did a little mini trash walk. So I joined on that, and we passed my favorite local flower stand, and she was doing a sale. I saw on her Instagram that because it was raining Friday and Saturday that the foot traffic was slower, so she did a little sale, and I got this bouquet for $10. So really, really, really love her arrangements. This peony opened up really big. I love all the flower colors. Kind of feels like a sunset or sunrise with all those colors. Or sherbet, like a summer sherbet. So that was a week. I'm doing my best. Highs and lows. I hope you have a wonderful week, yappers. Have a great one. Bye.